So Florida Governor Ron DeSantis comes out and declares professional wrestling, WWE, who's now based out of there, by the way. WWE left Stanford for Orlando. So relevant. Good company in his state. Declares them essential work, so therefore they can go and put on, was it Monday Night Raw? I want to say there's like a Tuesday Night SmackDown, but they can go put on live events. And some people were very bothered. Very bothered. How dare that get called essential work? I'll give you Chael's 2 cents on this. I've never looked up what the definition of that is from a legal standpoint. Don't tell me any worker is not essential. That will offend me to the highest of levels. All workers are essential. There's Chael's opinion. But where does this open up for us? I don't know. Does that mean it then opens up mixed martial arts? Very similar event. One scripted, one not scripted, but at least the presentation that you're looking at from a very layman standpoint, you go, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, you got a referee in there, you got a couple of athletes in there. They come 2 at a time, they leave, 2 more come back, show lasts about 4 hours. I mean, it kind of looked like something similar. So the Florida Boxing Commission weighed in on this. And they said, yes, you're interpreting this correctly. And we would hold a sporting event in a very timely fashion if, and then they filled in the blanks. They said all the different responsible things. And I got to tell you, and I'm not a prude on this stuff, I'm not sure my opinion on it isn't just take your oars out of the water. I'm not sure that it's not. To see the kind of setup and the cost, the logistics, everything that goes into it to try to put on one of these events, to have the carpet pulled out from under you. I mean, whatever the answer is, we're going to have to go ahead and accept. If somebody can just step forward with leadership and seem to push this thing forward, it looks like Vince would get some credit and that Vince just did that. And maybe he even had some help with some of the governing bodies. Okay, great. That's okay. But if the next guy can't come in and this is only just a time issue, we just need time. I keep hearing this term, outrun this thing. I tend to lean towards that. I don't know that I've heard a better thought than letting it run its course, as they say. All right, but you still have a question. Do you start lining up some kind of a match? Do you start bringing guys in? While you're thinking of that, while you're pondering that, make sure you do understand the importance for some of these athletes right now to be very chirpy and vocal. This is the time. This is right now when everybody else is quiet because there's bored, there's ways to come in and steal headlines. If there's anything that Dana has told people very consistently, it's that this sport changes fast. So when you see an opportunity, word to the wise, take it. Okay. But we're now being proven that, we're being shown it. In a very short period of time, we only have to go back a number of days and look at what happened with Justin Gaethje. Gaethje positioned himself to be the guy to fill in. That opportunity came up and he signed the contract, was ready to step forward. Had his conditioning up, had his weight down, and was in front of this thing. Okay, great. Credit to Justin Gaethje. But let's also look at what happened to Jose Aldo, because that was a little bit more sad. Jose Aldo was given a #1 contendership, a fight against Henry Cejudo, a fight that Aldo could win. He could lose that fight, but he could win that fight. I mean, that's a good match. He was given home court advantage. They were going to bring it to Brazil. He's only fought at the weight class 1 time. Oh, by the way, he got the silver medal that night. I mean, this was a really rare and a great opportunity to a great, great fighter that he's likely to not get back. I think likely Dominic Cruz just took this opportunity. I could rewind 28 days. Tyron Woodley was supposed to fight with Leon. All of a sudden, something happens. Tyron's available. Leon's not available, right? The England thing and trying to get all the logistics done. Colby Covington steps into it. Now, Tyron Woodley has gone as far as to say, don't ever bring up Leon Edwards again. That is done. Colby Covington's next for me. Colby's saying, great, you're next for me. I'm just saying, do we see how fast things are changing? And it's very important that some of these guys that are staying in the forefront of your mind. Frankly, John Jones deserves credit for this. John Jones is out there staying in people's mind. Right, wrong, or indifferent, he is in people's minds. John Jones doesn't need the same thing that other guys need. John Jones's next fight is a main event. John Jones's next fight is going to be for the World Championship because he's bringing it with him. But for the contenders out there, for the guys who it comes down to an argument at some point, and as much as we hate to admit that reality, We hate that there's politics in this sport, even though we know there are. We hate that popularity matters in your ranking. Your popularity and your ranking are directly correlated. We know this. We acknowledge this. We just hate it. So we try it tonight. Guys, you don't have to hate it anymore. We've all seen the wheel. We don't have to reinvent this thing. Right now is the time. It's the time for the Darren Tills that are out there speaking up. It's the time for the Paulo Acostas. It's the time. Hey, you want to know? Blachowicz and Reyes. It's all fair game now. If we were to go back 30 days, it was all Jan. Jan got to go second. John Jones sat there. Jan called John out. John accepted. It's very hard to unfry that egg. Marketing is good. Marketing is important. Marketing versus organic moments, you can't even compare them. You can't put a price tag on that. When you got 4 cameras set up in a live audience and the champion of the world just accepted a call out by a guy that just won in the first round of a main event, it's very hard to unwind that. One thing that is helpful without running something or unwinding it, helpful to Reyes' situation, is time. You put a little time. He's now got the time. I'm very curious how he's going to use this. I don't think any of us have been as impressed with Dominic Reyes and given him his full due until the last year. Walking out there, stopping Chris Weidman, former world champion, main event fight. Walking out there, going 25 minutes with John Jones. Controversial 25-minute decision that many people thought that he won. That's between those boys. That's why he can do the rematch. But the point is, the iron is hot. And the pool is wide open because nobody's in it. And I do think that these guys need to begin to position themselves. And I will just argue for it. I do not see Jose Aldo getting that fight back. It's just a hard one for me. I think everything lined up. Location, opponent, timing, little controversy in his fight with Marlon. I think a lot of things, a lot of boxes got checked. And I don't say that as any kind of pride or happiness to Jose. I just say that as a lesson. I think there was potentially a lesson right here in front of us right now. And you guys need to observe it.